Eruvin, Parakeh, Mishnah Tet. This Mishnah is a continuation of our last Mishnah, in which we saw a machloket between the Tanakama and Rabbi Akiva. Okay, and the question was, in a case where someone was in a city and I put my eruv in another city. I was in Ir Gedola and I put my eruv in Ir Ketana. Okay, let's look at I'm in Ir Gedola and I put my eruv in Ir Ketana. So now the Tanakama said in this case that the whole city is like Daled Amot, and therefore I have another picture, right? I have the example I'll give you. I'm in Ir Ketana and I put my eruv in Ir Gedola. So the Tanakama says the whole city is like Daled Amot. And for this reason, this makes it a little bit smaller so you can see better. Oops, it's too small. Okay, and for this reason, the whole city is like Daled Amot, and therefore you have 2,000 amot out on the outskirts of the city in every direction. That's your 2,000 amot. So therefore, since my eruv is here, this is like Daled Amot, and I get 2,000 amot all around. You just imagine it's on the top and the bottom. Whereas we learned Rabbi Akiva said no. Rabbi Akiva said no. I said that twice. Rabbi Akiva said, "Eino elami makom eruvo alpayim mama." You only get 2,000 amot from the place of the eruv, so it would be here, right? And the actual 2,000 amot from right there, which is significantly less. And then, if the Ir Ketana was cut off, you wouldn't have the whole Ir. You would only have a portion of the city. And that's the machlok between Rabbi Akiva and the Tanakama. Our Mishnah is a continuation of that Mishnah. Amar len Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva said to the Chachamim, Iatem modim li benoten eruvo b'ma'ara she'en lo mimakom eruvo ela alpayim mama. If I'm in a cave, so don't you admit that if I put the eruv in a cave, I don't get from the exit of the cave. I only get from the place of the eruv. Let's say it's a pretty deep cave. I only get from the place of the eruv 2,000 amot. So don't you think? Isn't that why wouldn't you say the same thing about a city? So Amrulo, they said to him, "Hey Matai, you're right. When are you right? Bisman she'ein bad yirim, if people don't live in the cave. But if people live in the cave, nahalech et kula v'chotzela alpayim amak. People live in the cave. So look, we're not going to use this example because this is a case where the cave ends. Okay, the cave ends. We're going to see that in a second. Okay, you have 2,000. You have 1,000 from the end of the cave. But in our case, if you put the eruv in the cave, and there are people living there, then you go to the edge of the cave, you can go anywhere in the cave, and then you have 2,000 amot from each side of the cave. Because it has diurim, it has inhabitants. It has the inhabitants, it's as if it's like a city. Okay? Therefore, the Bartanura says, Achshav, Afabi she'ein ba diurim achshav, okay? If it's ru'uya l'diurim, if it's viable, if it can hold people, even though they're not, nechshevet kula ela ka'arba amot li v'chachamim. Okay, it's considered like 4 amot. The same thing as the city, even if there's a city and people live there, that's like arba amot. So people can live in the cave. And when you're right, Rabbi Akiva, is when it has no inhabitants. Nimtza, turns out, kal tocha me'al gaba. The inside of that cave that could have people inhabiting it is more mekil than if you had left the eruv on top of it. Because if you left the eruv on top of it, then for sure everyone would agree you only get 2,000 amot from the place of the eruv, not the whole cave. Okay, and then we said, by the measurement that we said, if you measure, you get a payim, you get 2,000. Remember we said that if you're measuring, let's say I'm measuring from my eruv, according to Rabbi Akiva, or like another city, whatever, and the city ends in a payim, then you can only go till here. So that's true. The Mishnah says, okay, even if your measurement ends in a cave, and that's the picture that we have here. If the 2,000 ends at the cave, you can only go into the cave up to this point and no farther. You don't get to use the whole cave. Just like we said, you wouldn't get to use a whole city if your 2,000 amot came to the edge of a city. We'll stop here. As always, comments or questions, feel free to contact me at rspolter@gmail.com. I will dedicate a learning to the memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a good day.